And this is our ricotta and Croatian fig. Fresh ricotta and figs from Croatia. Okay. Sweeter and smoother compared to the figs from Greece or the figs from Turkey. Hazelnut orange zest with fresh zest of oranges.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
We have our mango sticky rice. We got that idea from Bali, from...
That is so good, yeah.
This was a really hard day at work, but someone's got to do it. Yes, Gelato in Scottsdale. It's a new-ish place, but the way that we first heard about Allora and the story behind it, oh my gosh, you have to hear it. We're going inside. Ice cream, anyone? No. Gelato, anyone? Well, let's try it on MOMCAST. Well, this isn't typically how we start MOMCAST, not here on the studio like this in the mornings or on my phone, but welcome to MOMCAST. I'm Emma Jade. We here on 12 News Today in AZ, which is the morning show that I also do, we were talking to Mr. William Pitts, who just went on a great trip to Italy, right? And he mentioned about all the great things that he was eating, all the great gelato, and he had the audacity to say that there was a gelato place here in Arizona that was better than what he had in Italy. Come over here right now.
Yes.
This gelato place, go on.
Not a lie. Allora Gelato, as good, if not better, than anything we had in Italy, in Rome, in Florence, in Venice, everything.
Okay, so I put it to the test. We put it to the test, and we went right there to Allora, right here on MOMCAST. Check it out.
How did we get here? Where did Allora come from? Where did the idea come from? What happened? How did you guys make this happen?
So it was 2014 and I was walking the streets of Capri and then I stumbled upon like a small gelateria. There were one lady is baking the cones, the other lady is like scooping the gelato. So I make the line, tried the gelato, and I had like a warm waffle cone and an amazing gelato. And at that point I told my friends like I need to open up a gelateria. And you know like how like the dreams often like tucked away. Totally. And well, 10 years later, Sierra and I met, and talking, a few months later, I was like, hey, you know what? Why don't we sell everything and just like go travel the world, immerse ourselves in the gelato craft, and open a gelato shop.
Sierra, someone to tell you that let's sell everything and let's do this. What did you think?
I was like, oh my gosh, this is my dream. No. Did I manifest this? No. I mean, it was, at first I was very resistant because I had just moved here, so I had been in Arizona for maybe a year, and the salon that I was at, my career was really booming. I was ahead of education at the salon, so it was a tough, I mean, it was harder to tell them that, hey, I know you guys just put all this trust in me, but I'm actually going to be selling everything and leaving. So that was like the tough part because I am very dedicated to my job. So, and to people, and I don't want to let them down. So that was like the hardest part.
This is a huge risk. Like you hear about people doing this, but to actually like sell, like you're serious. You guys sold everything.
Cars, furniture, everything.
Yeah, we pretty much sold everything, and we were traveling with a backpack and a carry-on. And of course, she's never been outside of the country, so I was like, hey, you know what? Let's take you 1 month to Morocco. So that was her first outside of the country experience. Morocco, and the goal was to not just to explore the best gelato in the world and grab from like what we like, but to immerse on different cultures and what can we bring to our gelateria that is kind of like the flavors of the different countries. For example, like our mango sticky rice comes from our experience in Bali, that we bring it here as a form of gelato.
I mean, this sounds like I'm sure when you told your parents or your family or your friends that they're like, girl, do you like blink once if you're okay?
Right. That did happen, yes. They're like, I don't know, this guy sounds too good to be true.
Right. We're going to travel the world and study the most delicious ice cream on the planet, gelato. So how did you convince yourself that like, oh, okay?
Well, I mean, when we started dating, it just felt so right. Like our first date, it was so comfortable. We talked for hours and hours and hours and didn't like have any awkward, space. Yeah. And so that, all right, like we really kind of the chemistry was there right away. And I trusted him. I trusted that, you know, this is his passion for gelato it's incredible. And so I trusted that this dream of his, like, it was something that I believed in wholeheartedly. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, let's take my hand, let's go on this journey. So I trusted him. And it was scary when he's like, oh, we sold your car. I cried because I'm just like,
this is real. Yes. And I'm selling it for a dream. Yeah. That may not even work out. What was the year that you guys decided to do this?
2022. We started traveling. It was year 2021, but we started traveling in 2022.
Pandemic times when people aren't really taking a lot of risks at this time, because we just went through a really risky time. Yeah. So what fueled you?
To open a gelateria?
Yeah, well, to like even go and really pursue this, because that is a scary thing. You're selling cars, you're selling, like you said, furniture, to chase something that, what if it doesn't work out?
Well, before that, I was traveling a lot, so I was like, okay, let's just like pick up and go. She was not that way, so I was like incentivizing that on her. It's kind of like, but you know, like I was like saying, we can open up a business, like, but we cannot travel after. But we can travel, really immerse ourselves in the craft, and then we can open up a business. And I was like, you know what do we have to lose? It's like, worst case scenario is like what? Let's just continue doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Worst case scenario, he's like, you come back and you continue working as a hairstylist.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we just pick back up again.
And the people at my salon would have hired me back in a heartbeat, so.
So there you go. So what did you guys learn on this big travel adventure?
So it was flavors, and like the combination of flavors and how something, to be honest, we didn't know what we were gonna learn.
Yeah.
What we were focusing is like, let's go and let's visit the top gelaterias, let's talk to chefs, let's convince them to teach us how to make that gelato, which we didn't know it was gonna happen. So, and then throughout the trip...
MOMCAST is sponsored by Moxie Pest Control, protecting what matters most.
So what did you guys learn on this big travel adventure?
So it was flavors, and like the combination of flavors. To be honest, we didn't know what we were gonna learn.
Yeah.
What we were focusing is like, let's go and let's visit the top gelaterias, let's talk to chefs, let's convince them to teach us how to make that gelato, which we didn't know it was gonna happen. So, and then throughout the trip, it was like, oh, look at that. For example, in Cambodia, I fell in love with this dessert made with like sweet potato, and it was sweet potato and coconut milk. And it was so simple, and it was just the most amazing dessert that I was like, okay, I have to like bring it back somehow and include it as a gelato. Or like we were going to Bali, and like the lighting and the atmosphere, it was like so pleasant, and like the bowing and the, oh my God, this is so good, we need to bring this back. And we were like in Bratislava, Slovakia, we tried this hazelnut gelato and we loved it. And before, it was like, oh, it's gonna have a gelateria with like Italian music, so everybody feels like in Italy. And we arrived there, and the music was pumping, and it was like deep house, and everybody was in the line, and everybody was vibing. And I was like, this is what I want. And little by little, it starts like, it was kind of like your board, like but in real life.
Yeah, like your vision board. Anyone would dream to have an experience like that, to take that big of a risk. So then you get back and reality hits. How did you do? What were some of the first steps that you guys had to take to make what you learned and put that into this spot?
I come from the health and wellness industry, so I was doing a little bit of private chefing already, and I realized like the key component is the quality of the ingredients. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna create a gelato that I would love to eat, and then I'm gonna sell it to people instead of going the other way around. So I was just like testing like flavors and this and that, and a lot of flavors have changed Like on the board, it was supposed to be olive oil and sea salt. And as I was making it, I was like, you know what? I love rosemary. Let's drop some rosemary. And then I was like picking it up from work, and I was like, you know what? The olive oil sea salt turned into olive oil rosemary. Try it.
I don't know how you guys are as like small as you are and as thin as you are with all of the trying of the gelato. Was that all you ate for like forever?
You know, you would think so, but it's once you're around it, you're like, okay, I don't want it as much. Like, here's a taste test. But
Yes,
yeah.
totally.
But to his point, you know, when we got back, we hit the ground running. And we're like, okay, let's look for spaces right away. He was on, you know, line looking for places for rent, and he found this place.
This place is a gem.
And we just happened to reach out to our real estate agent and say, hey, we want to look at this place. We want this place. And, you know, it was a lot of manifestation that just like came to life. And, you know, when he was saying like, oh, I want to do hazelnut and orange zest. And I'm like, why? Why would you want to do hazelnut orange zest? Like, just leave it hazelnut. But then when he made the hazelnut and orange zest, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing I've ever tasted. So it was just like, he has this vision for flavors and creativity, and it's like, he says, I really want to do this flavor, and it sounds so out of this world, but then when you try it, you're like, that makes so much sense.
That is incredible.
It comes on layers.
Yeah. What's the name Allora mean? What is that? Why that?
So allora is a filler word in Italian. It means like so, or it means like okay, but it also means back when. And I was like, that's the perfect word, because we want to bring gelato the same way that it was offered back in the day. All the ingredients are natural ingredients, no colorants, no flavorings. We make the cones and the gelato in premises every day. Oh, and just exactly the same that it was done when you imagine back in Italy. So if we create something timeless and natural ingredients and everything like that, I think like we have something like you can come 20 years down the road and it's still the same. No fads, no gimmicks.
So you get the space, you know you want to have it be here. Then what were some of the next steps that you guys had to do?
A lot of people were asked, especially friends that are business owners, were telling me like, oh, you should apply for a small business loan. And like, so we tried to go on that route, and because this is a restaurant, and because you're a first time restaurant, and because like all of that, it was super hard. And people were like, I remember I was like building the place, and the bankers were coming and just like kicking tires. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sell my Tesla's, part of my Tesla stock, and apply for 0 APR credit cards.
And that was it.
And that was it.
So this is your place. Like this is all you guys.
We don't own anything to anyone.
Yeah, we're 0 debt. Yeah.
You guys, that's incredible. It's so interesting because to really have a dream is one thing, but to see it all the way through and to do the research and to just like really, you were just saying that you were part of building this place as well. Come on, you guys, this is really your shop. That's amazing.
When I see lines out the door and I hear customers say this is the best gelato I've ever tasted, and just like all the comments like, you guys have something so special here, it's just like, it's a pinch me moment. Many, many times I'm just like, is this real life? Like, is this really ours?
But it's so much work.
Yeah,
And
it is.
you guys are here, I'm sure,
Yeah.
all the time.
At the beginning, it was like all the time for the first 6 months. Like, you know, I made an example. It felt like, you know, we just bought like this baby dragon, and as the baby dragon starts growing, it starts pulling, and we start getting scared. It was like, holy smokes, what do we do?
Yeah.
And now we feel like we can like steer it out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you have about what, between 8 to 10 employees now running the place. Tell me about how it was when you guys had the grand opening. How did you get the word out? What did you hear from people? What were lines like? Is it working?
Yeah, you know, everybody has like a soft opening, like first time business owners, you know, like people have a soft opening, so we should do a soft opening, invite like Instagrammers. We sent like 20 invites and nobody replied. And then,
The day before Thanksgiving.
yeah, and then the day before the opening, an Instagrammer reached out to us and said, hey, I heard you guys are opening, can I come? And we were giving away free gelato, free 3 scoops of gelato, and I have put a poster out the window. I was like, maybe this is gonna bring some people. So she did that video, posted, these guys are giving free gelato on these 2 different windows.
Yeah.
And as we are arriving to the shop that day, I sent to Sierra, it's like, there has 6,000 shares.
MOMCAST is sponsored by Moxie Pest Control, protecting what matters most.
So talk me through the flavors, because these are not your typical flavors. Because like what you mentioned, you have the hazelnut, but then you have the hazelnut and orange zest. Like,
Yeah.
you guys keep adding layers to it. Lalo, that's kind of what you've been saying.
Right.
So talk me through some of the ones that you were really proud of.
Well, one of our popular flavors is the mango sticky rice. A lot of gelato shops is like a mango sorbet, but here we try to do, we convert it into a gelato, and we use 2 types of mango from India, coconut and pandan. The matcha green tea is first harvest matcha from Japan. We use organic matcha. And we needed to have, you know, like some American flavors. So she's like, you need to make a mint cookies and cream. But I've never had, coming from Peru, I've never had, and I never was into mint cookies and cream. So I was like, okay, let me get into the kitchen. Let me make my version of mint cookies and cream. I'm gonna use organic mint leaves. And I created that, and I brought her the flavor, which, you know, from Montana, is like, what do you think about this mint cookies and cream? And she's like, boom.
Also, I'm like, we're right next to a kid's store and a children's hospital. Like, we need to have flavors for the kids.
Okay, I love
like,
that.
the kids aren't gonna be like, oh, I want ricotta and Croatian fig, you know, I want strawberry, I want chocolate, I want vanilla.
Yes.
So that's where the chocolate brownie came into play, and the mint cookies and creams, and yeah.
I love that. Okay, the one that I hear the most about is the coconut almond crunch. Is that your most popular? What's your
It
most
is
popular?
not, surprisingly.
Oh, okay,
The
what's the most
coconut
popular?
almond crunch is very good. I
Okay.
do love that one. It tastes like an almond joy, but better.
I think the Argentinian churro is the most popular right
That,
now.
yeah,
Is that right?
the Argentinian
Oh,
churro.
that one.
It's made with organic Ceylon cinnamon and dulce de leche folded in.
Okay.
I wanted to do that from the beginning. Actually, we did it at the beginning,
Yeah.
and then we kind of like switch it around a little bit, and we just brought it back, and that's the most popular flavor.
It's the thing is the reason we didn't do it in the beginning is because it wasn't right. The flavor wasn't right, and he's never gonna put a flavor on the menu that's just okay. He's like, it's not right. Take it off, and we'll figure it out later. But it was
Hey, this, you guys pride yourselves on the waffle cones.
Yeah.
They are made fresh every single day.
Yes. Gluten-free flour can be very crumbly, and even when it's humid outside, you have to treat the batter differently. When it gets drier in the summer months, because gluten-free flour is very drying and it soaks up a lot of moisture, so it'll act differently on the grill. So it's kind of like a science project every season.
A lot of people ask, why do you put the gelato inside the posettis? And the reason is to keep its freshness. We cook the gelato, and as soon as we bring it down into freezing point, we put it inside the posettis. If we have them uncovered, then the pistachio starts communicating with the passion fruit, the strawberry. In one day, everything tastes the same. So try something simple that a lot of kids have it as vanilla. And this is our ricotta and Croatian fig. It's made with fresh ricotta and figs from Croatia.
Okay.
And the reason that we use the figs from Croatia is because they're a little sweeter and smoother compared to the figs from Greece or the figs from Turkey.
It is like a kid. I could tell my kid that this was vanilla,
Correct.
but it has like such rich flavor.
Yeah, and you feel the smoothness of the fig, which is something that you cannot accomplish with the fig from Greece or the fig from Turkey.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting more of the fig flavor now.
Right.
Like
Layers.
afterwards? Yes.
Right.
Oh, this is lovely.
Yeah, this one is the hazelnut orange zest.
Okay, this
We
is
use-
the one that you talked to Sierra about, and she was like, "Don't add orange
Right.
zest."
This is dark roasted hazelnut with fresh zest of oranges.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Okay, tell me about making that one.
So when we choose the hazelnut from Piedmont, there's 5 different of roasts. So we go through each roast. It's like, okay, which one? This one is too sweet. This one is, and we accomplished to choose dark roasted for our Piedmont hazelnut. And then we add the citrusy, but it's not like citrusy like orange, it's just like a zest. And then we have our mango sticky rice.
This is what I'm most excited about. Okay, and you got this one. What did you say from?
So it's two types of mango from India, coconut and pandan. We got that idea from Bali, from
That is so good.
Yeah.
yeah. So in Bali, Indonesia is a very common dessert, as well as other countries in Asia, like Thailand.
This is like 10 out of 10.
I'm sure you have so many people asking you for advice because you've done it. Like you've had the dream, you took the risk, you traveled, you did the research, and now you have your own shop. So what's your advice? And the two of you, because I wonder if it's different. What's your best advice to people who have a dream and want to take a risk? And then what's yours as well? So let's start with you, Lalo.
Believe in yourself. Because the reason that it took me so long to make it a reality was because I was coming to my friends. I was like, hey, I want to open up a gelato shop. And it's like, there's a lot of gelato shops. There's a lot of like things.
Always hear the reasons
and
not
like,
to do it.
And then I might say like, oh, that didn't discourage me. But maybe subconsciously, I was putting my business plan to the side, continue with myself. And then, even so, when we were traveling, I was, because I was working from a computer, and that's how we were able to travel. A lot of times I was like, what about this business? And what about this other business? And I was even doing business plans. And she's like, listen, all of the business plan end up at Allora, meaning like, oh, we can do this business. And 2 years later, when we make money, we can open that gelateria. It's like, you keep talking about the gelateria, make it happen.
Yeah. Okay, what's your advice?
Oof, it's like, I think it's trust the process and do the hard work. It takes a lot of hard work, but you have to do that hard work and trust that it's going to work out in the end. Because if you doubt yourself, I think that's the biggest problem, is doubting yourself. So yeah, believing in yourself, trusting the process, and also just knowing that things will work out in the end. Like, if you hit a bump in the road, you're like, it's okay, everything's gonna be okay, we're gonna figure this out and we're gonna move on. It's like, you don't like, oh, a pipe burst, like that's the end of Allora. Like, no, we're gonna figure it out and we're gonna move on. Like, yeah.
Are they inspiring or what? From dream to lots of research and now reality. You can check out Allora near the corner of Scottsdale and Shea, open at 1 p.m. daily. For this delicious episode of MOMCAST, I'm Emma Jade. And by the way, if you have an idea or a place that you just think makes Arizona so cool, be sure to share it with me. You can send me an email at ejade@12news.com. This is MOMCAST. See you next week.
MOMCAST is sponsored by Moxie Pest Control, protecting what matters most.